Hey friends, today we are doing an unboxing for the CaDA Master V12 Hypercar. This is their set number C64003 and it has 3,865 pieces. And here is the designer, Suwan G. I hope I'm saying that right. It's a 1/8 scale, fully Technic build. It's got 2 instruction manuals. Today what we're going to do is we're going to look at the parts, the different phases and the parts that come in each of those phases. And then we'll flip through the instructions, we'll look at the decorations, we'll see what you're in for. And this video will not cover the review of the finished model. That will save for another video. I have another video for an orange AMG GT3 that I'll put a link up for, and that one gives you a sense for a very complex model that has electronics, it's got pneumatics, it's got all kinds of things going on. This one does not have those things. This one is more of a pure static model that emphasizes really clever engineering for the suspension especially, as well as emphasizing the shaping, because if you look at this car, it's got this incredibly unique shaping that's happening here. Is the V12 Hypercar a real car? Yes and no. So in my research, it looks like this is based on the Apollo IE Hypercar by a company called Apollo Automobil, and it has a V12 Ferrari engine in it. And there were only 10 made worldwide. That's the plan, only 10 of them. So what's the cost of each of them? 2.7 million US dollars. And I'll put a picture up of what the real car looks like. As far as I can tell, this is an homage to that Apollo IE, although you see it's not officially licensed. All right, and so you've got different boxes, as you saw in the previous section. And each of the boxes has a grouping of bags in them. So the first, we'll call it stage, has boxes 1 and 2 in it. So that's this far end over here. And then this box is stage 2. So it has bags 3 and 4. And then stage 3 has bag 5. Stage 4 has bag 6. And then the final stage, stage 5, has bags 7 and 8 with the wheels and the tires. All right, so coming around over here, you see that in that very first bag, you have a little bit of these Technic frames. Got one rubber band in here, a couple of tubes. These tubes, these hose pieces are in the model. They're exposed to help make it look like, I want to say it's probably engine cooling. And then of course they use these flexible pieces to help create some of the shaping that you see in the model. This bag has a lot of interesting things in it. Look at all this gold that they included. These really big brake rotors. It has its own brick separator. So here are 2 of the suspension pieces, so real metal springs in here. And they typically have to be really strong because the weight of the car is just so heavy. So when they do these springs, they actually have to be intentional about how much force they include on them. And if it's like the other model that I had, you may be able to adjust the, I don't know if it's what it's called, the top pad or the top end of that spring to give it a little bit more tension to make up for some of the weight. So you see quite a few, right? Just your standard Technic parts. There are a couple of blue panels that come in kind of early in bag 1 or stage 1. I have the feeling these may be used much later. They just put them in the bag, or they put them in this box because they happen to fit. Of course, as usual, the gearbox is usually in that first phase, so you're starting to see some of the gearing that's in there. So onto the second stage. Here's bag 3, more of those rotors, and more springs. So these are nice and beefy springs that you've got in here. A lot more gears, way more gears, right? So plenty going on. Bag 4, it uses this dark tan, which I think is interesting. More gold for the steering components. See this bag, more Technic goodness. And then onto bag 5. A lot more of these pieces. It's interesting that all these black pins were only introduced in bag 5. I feel like you're going to need them much earlier. You're starting to look at some of the body panels by bag 5. In bag 6, these are the exterior panels in this blue color. Quite a few of them. So you're going to start to see the car come together quite a bit by bag 6, right? It's going to start to look like a car. And that's the thing that I think makes it hard for me personally to work on these large 1/8 scale Technic is it doesn't really look like the thing until you've invested a lot of hours into it. And so I think it's just a little bit difficult for me personally. And you can see that, the model really starts to come together, of course, near the end. And then as far as the tires go, they are directional tires. And what does it say on here? It says 80 by 44 ZR is what's printed on there for the size. And then you've got these wheels, pretty good looking wheels. These are rubber, thank goodness. I've built or I've reviewed the Yangwang U9, and it did not come with rubber tires. It had it was like an all-in-one piece, and the tires were solid. I thought that was a little strange. I think it's because the Yangwang was just so incredibly heavy. I think that rubber would have deformed it. So this might be on the lighter side compared to cars like that. Here's the decoration sheet. So you can see here it says Super Racing, and then Racing. So not the best choice of typography or words that they've used there. I don't know what that blue piece is. Oh, these probably go on the motor. That's my guess. Yeah, and this says V12. So graphic design, so-so. Some of these CaDA sets, they do printed pieces. This one looks like it's not. So it might be kind of maybe more on the budget side. And then you have your instrumentation for those 3 stickers there. All right, let's take a closer look at the instructions. All right, so it comes in 2 books, book 1, book 2. I did not see an indication that digital was available, but I would sort of be surprised if it was not. Here's information about how to use the brick separator, some helpful hints about making sure you have the right pieces as you go. And then what we'll do is we'll flip through here. We probably won't look at every single page, but it'll give you a sense for what you're in for. And I'm assuming in this video just that you've built models like this before. So as you're looking at these images, you'll get a sense for the pacing, what you're building and when, as well as the overall complexity. So that's what we'll do just to kind of flip through, give you a preview for it. The suspension, wow, it is super complex in here. There are so many parts that articulate and keep that geometry stable. I'm pretty impressed. I did read that that's one of the things they were going for with this particular model, was to make suspension that felt detailed and accurate potentially to the actual car. So they're trying to this design was trying to create suspension that would really pay homage to the real car and the suspension that is in that real car. Here we are in the gearbox, the trickiest part. That's the part you gotta pay the most attention to as you're building. Here we are mating the, I think this is the entire rear assembly to the gearbox. And then it says, boom, you're done. Oh, it's saying this should turn, I guess. That's how you can check it. I wish more companies would do that, just to say, hey, if you can turn these couple of things, then you've built it correctly at this checkpoint. It's like a save point or something in a video game. That's about as far as I got on the orange Mercedes AMG that I have. And then I started to get distracted. I had other things I needed to take care of. And so, yeah, I just kind of put it on hold. And then to be perfectly honest, the AMG was a beast. It is a challenge, and I was never 100% sure if what I was doing was correct. I mean, I double checked things as much as I could, but you know, you just never know. Here's where the springs go in the rear. I think that's pretty cool. Very, very sports car, very hypercar to put the springs way up there like that. Starting to put the roof on. And, you know, as you can see, I mean, it doesn't even look like a car yet. You know, it's just like narrow, and you're just still working through it. Wow, look at that. Here's an example of those exposed hoses. Again, here's another checkpoint. So if that gear right there moves, you're good. That's what I believe that's what that's saying. Here we are building the seats, tan bucket seats. Holy cow. Yeah, so this is serious. And this is only halfway through at this point, right? We're at still in book 1. All right, so by the time you finish book 1, we actually have all 4 corners built out, a little bit of the roof, got the seats in there, gearbox and motor. All right, so that's where we are, end of book 1. And then starting book 2, jumps right in. I don't know what this is. Oh, I see. It is part of the body. So this may be part of the side of the vehicle. Yep. So this side assembly clips in. And look how deep that is compared to, you know, you're not even adding that blue to it yet. Just to create those really sculpted and deep lines, it needs to go that deep with the build. So it sits way in there before you even start to add those blue panels. So here we are adding more panels, starting to come together. So it looks like the front just exposes some of the gearing there. And if you like 1/8 scale, I would love to hear from you on the allure of having gearboxes, especially very complex ones that have lots and lots of speeds and functionality, because I've seen that done for what do you call it, static cars, where they have just completely robust and insane gearboxes, but because it doesn't have any motors, how do you appreciate that? Or is it that you just know it's there? You know it's there, and that's the pride you have in it. That's why it's enjoyable, because it's in there, even though you can't necessarily what is it called, show it off or even enjoy it. So let me know if you're a 1/8 scale Technic builder. Is that the allure of having these complicated gearboxes? I feel like we're making a shark, like the sleekest shark you can imagine. It's a cool color. I think they did pick a good one here. Accentuates those lines. Oh, brick built calipers. There's your stickers for the calipers. Oh, that's some of those stickers we saw. Might be these that say Super Racing. Ah, yeah, no, I think I'd definitely leave those off. And then here's your tires and your wheels. They're going on there. What else? Oh, the steering, of course, works. And there, whoa, that's that one sticker goes right there. Maybe that's a gas fill cover. And it's saying that there's a couple things you can do. There's steering here, and then maybe this is, my buddy Alex calls that hand of God steering. You've got, looks like gull wing doors that come up. All right, and last page it says, hey, you can move it forwards and backwards. And then here's your part inventory. Wow, that doesn't look like a lot of parts considering how many are in here, and it's over 3,800 pieces. So it means there's a lot of repeated parts. Okay, cool. So that is the look. I hope you got to see everything you wanted to see. Let me know what you think. Would you try to build one of these? Would you enjoy it? I think where this fits is if you enjoy 1/8 scale, and you don't necessarily want the complexity of that electronics, pneumatics, those kinds of things add to it, then this is probably a really good choice because it keeps it, I don't know what you'd call it, like a pure build, as you're building a static model that just lets you appreciate the gearing, the mechanical, that type of thing that's in the pure Technic assembly process for you. All right, that's my take on it. All right, let me know what you think. Thanks so much. Like the video if you like it.